Welcome to r/Reddit Revenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. The first story: entitled cousin demanded money after not receiving expensive gifts. The second story: boss asked to fire everyone at the Christmas party to avoid paying bonuses. The manager reported labor violations to authorities and resigned with a cheeky package. The third story: tenant suffers through bedbugs, broken appliances, and no hot water for 3 weeks. Management failed to honor lease agreement, leading to tenant getting revenge by getting rent lowered and informing all neighbors. On to the first story. Well, that escalated. Petty revenge against entitled cousins. I wrote a post a few days ago about my entitled cousin. The short and dirty is he's a bully, who along with his father brutalized me and his brother during our childhood. He's a terrible father and person who has raised his kids to be the same way. Because his kids are following in his footsteps, I stopped getting them fancy or well-thought-out gifts. About a month back, drama started when I bought some nice gifts for my other niece and nephew whose birthdays are on or around my hated cousin Laron's middle son's birthday. I instructed the parents not to open these gifts at the shared party, since they always do that because the birthday's around the same day. But this didn't happen, and it started an SH storm that ended in people demanding I give my entitled cousin $500, or the equivalent of what I paid for the other kids' gifts. Knowing he would only spend the money on himself, and not believing I owed him anything, I was just going to ignore him and his flying monkeys. But when his brother pointed out that his kids would need therapy like we did, I got the cheeky idea to pay for that, knowing my cousin's views on therapy. I knew full well he would not allow his child to go, despite it being good for him, and without the excuse of not being able to afford it, the family would rip him apart for not allowing his son to go. I thought it would be funny to turn all those flying monkeys back on him. I had no idea things would escalate like they have. So where do I even begin? Well, apparently I opened up a bigger can of worms than I imagined. It turns out that the kids are all already supposed to be in therapy, some kind of legally mandated counseling they've not been getting. I'm not sure the details yet of the legal stuff, but here's the gist. Youngest got kicked out of school for stabbing someone with a pencil, though I think she was justified given there was some kind of sexual assault element to that. The middle kid, Devin, as I said before, is just violent and gets in fights, and the eldest is surprisingly well adjusted. Though I credit his mother's influence to that, but he's apparently been getting fistfights with his dad. The first thing I must admit is that I don't have much of a relationship with the 17-year-old Laron Jr. I call him LJ. The reason I do not have any relationship with him is mostly his father and the fact that he doesn't much interact with me. In fact, he's always pretty introverted and actively avoided us for years, though I get why now. Speaking with him recently, I was told in no uncertain terms that he's been distant with me and Emil on purpose, since he was little. He said he appreciated us, but because his father would mistreat him when he was little for wanting to spend time at my parents' place or accepting gifts from Emil, he stopped. LJ distanced himself from not just us but his cousins as well. He said once he told Aunt Pam and Uncle Mac about it and they went and told his father, which got him beat, so he just withdrew from everyone. I told him he should have come to me or Emil, and he asked what we were going to do. I asked if he had told his mom, and he said numerous times that's why he mostly stays with her, but is forcing him to have some kind of relationship with his dad, who he sees every other week. I've been gone, so I didn't know about the living arrangement. LJ's a teenager, so I thought his behavior was just typical teenager stuff, but I'll admit it's been a long time since I actually had a real conversation with him. To be honest, I always thought he was an aloof a-hole, but I guess I was wrong. I felt bad about that, but he says it's not my fault. That's exactly what he wanted people to think so they would leave him alone. We couldn't help him, only make his situation worse. Me not wanting to keep trying to be in his life was kinda his goal. I also learned that I misjudged at least one of the mothers, youngest ones. When I met Latoya, I thought she was the most ratchet piece of hood rat trash on the planet. And she kinda was. She was younger, fast, had an attitude, one of those people who gossiped, got into drama, and did do crap to better herself. Got arrested for keying her ex's car while dating Laron, because she was still angry about some SH he did when they were together. She was incredibly rude and ghetto, and very much deliberately aggressive with folks. In the interim years, she's apparently grown up a bit. She's been fighting for full custody of her kid. And that after the pencil incident, there was some kind of mandate counseling. It was pretty vague, that Laron was supposed to have the kid that turned into a request to see a child therapist. Apparently the mothers, even Devin's ratchet A mother, had been sending Laron money for this purpose and he was lying, and having the kids lie to their mother that they had been going. He even got someone to sign fake documents, or so I'm told. I'm not sure how that can even be possible. Doesn't someone check on that? Like, isn't there an entire system in place to keep that from happening? Like, don't the school call or some kind of officer or the court? How can you fake that without anyone catching you? Apparently, news got back to the mothers that Laron was refusing to take the kid to pay for therapy sessions, which set off her spidey sense. She started asking why I even needed to pay for a therapy session. She started asking different family members uncomfortable questions, and we find out that some of the family have been helping LaRon lie about some things and cover up others. Mostly the usual suspects, but surprisingly one of my cousins, Alicia, who should know better. The mothers have gotten together and confronted LaRon about it, which led to a physical altercation between them and Kimberly. LJ stepped in to protect his mother and LaRon punched him hard enough to dislocate his jaw. The police were called. I don't know what happened, but that was the wrong thing to happen. Apparently Kimberly and LaRon have been using. No one knows what, or no one will tell me. There was prohibited substances and prohibited substances paraphernalia in the house. There was a check on the kids, a police statement, and all kinds of stuff I've not been privy to. But the short and dirty is both Kim and LaRon got arrested. The charges I know about are child abuse, assault, assault with a weapon, reckless endangerment, prohibited substances possession with the intent to sell, and a whole host of other crap that got too long to remember. The youngest, his daughter Amber Lynn, is now with her mom, who's filing a restraining order and is going to sue for full custody. Devin's mom cannot take him and he's with Auntie Monica, and LJ is with his mom. Some of the family are putting the blame for this debacle at my feet. One of them even said that by buying the therapy I was getting them white folks in our business, which is hilarious because Dr. Lubsy is black, but whatever. Folks is peeved at me because now the family is at each other's throats. There's a half that's just finding out the extent of LaRon's child abuse, neglect, and poor behavior with and in front of his kid, who want him to rot. There's another half of the family first crap. The latter has decided that I'm the sole person responsible, and anyone defending me or not attacking me on Facebook is a traitor. They alternate between attacking me and trying to guilt me into helping his legal fees. Even some of the good ones, who think if we don't help them, others will take LaRon's kids and they'll never see them again. I was annoyed but ignoring a lot of the BS as I had many family members defending me too, but I went off when folks started disparaging my wife. The same crowd talking about getting those white folks in our business started getting on me, Uncle Brad, Ray Ray, and Isaac because we want to be white with our snow bunnies. This was started by, of course, CC and Babat, but started to get traction with some other folks and that became a real SH show, with some people blocked outright. Isaac's wife went the F off. She's like Dutch Irish or something and does not take SH from nobody. Now folks, admittedly only the stupid folks, are saying I've split the family in two. And it's funny that the little battle lines being drawn seem to be between the haves and the have-nots. LaRon is facing some serious charges, so is Kimberly. The kids are telling tales and it don't look good. And I am being blamed for opening up this whole can of worms. I don't know if I can't take responsibility for this, but this is where my petty revenge went. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Things are volatile right now. I can't believe you managed to turn the tables on him like that, but it seems like things got even more interesting after that. Entitled cousin and his children are in even deeper trouble than originally thought. They'll think twice before demanding money for gifts they didn't deserve. Always satisfying to see karma come back around, especially in the form of legally mandated counseling. I guess you never really know what's going on behind closed doors, especially with people like this. You have a lot of interesting family members to say the least. In all seriousness, it's good that you were able to reconnect with your nephew and find out what was really going on. That the kids are finally getting the help they need. Your entitled cousin might even turn into a halfway decent person. The second story is, so you want me to fire everyone at the Christmas party? Okay then. Many years ago, early 1980s, I worked for a company that did what I called mall molesting. They did market research surveys in a mall and were always stopping people to ask questions, etc. The company was run by 3 older women who had started it up in their kitchen. They were opinionated and had no care about anything but money. Part of this included paying employees not by the hour but by the survey, which was against labor rules as it never matched the basic hourly wage. This is important. Christmas came and we were planning our employee party when one of the owners called and told us that in order to avoid paying bonuses, we were to fire everyone at the party and then hire back the ones that we liked after the new year. We, the other managers and I, talked about it, and then I called the Federal Bureau of Labor, who had been trying to get the information for the employee pay for several years, but had always been turned away. I had them come to the back door and let them into the file room, and showed them the boxes. I then said I had things to do in the front and would be back later, and went to the front desk to finish the paperwork I needed. Said paperwork? A blow-up of Santa going down the chimney with Merry Effing Christmas typed across it. All the management resignations and the FedEx envelope that would hold our keys and said paperwork. Labor guy finished what he needed to do, we locked up, sent the package which was timed to arrive at their Christmas party and walked away. The company ended up spending about $250K in reimbursements and fines for the labor problem. Grinch, Scrooge, and the Ghost of Christmas Present all rolled up into one company. I can only imagine the shock on the faces of the owners when they received that package during their Christmas party. Bad idea to mess with the holiday spirit, especially if you're trying to get out of paying your employees what they're rightfully owed. But hey, at least the employees got their just desserts, or rather their bonuses and fair pay. It's always satisfying to see justice served, even if it takes a blow-up Santa and a FedEx envelope to do it. Let's hope those 3 older women learned their lesson and started running their business with a little more heart and compassion. And let's also hope that blow-up Santa found a new cozy home after the party. The last story is... full rent? Okay. I recently told my apartment complex I'm finally moving. I cannot wait. I feel like a sense of dread is lifting, like I can feel good. This place has been awful. I moved in as the pandemic was ramping up, so I stayed in my apartment. Then bedbugs were in my apartment. They tried blaming me, but I literally went nowhere. I spent hundreds of dollars cleaning and killing those things while their exterminator failed for 4 months. I also had to fight management to bring them back after each failed attempt. I couldn't sleep. My mental health deteriorated. I was suicidal at points. I was finally able to move into a different unit after 5 months. Oh, and a neighbor dog bit me while I moved out. The issues didn't stop. Broken dishwasher, cloudy tap water, and for 3 weeks in late November, no hot water. Management sent out a letter after a few days after the hot water was out. It stated that they would provide a hotel or pay a stipend for the time without water. This is where we, me and the voices mentally ill yo, can set up revenge for all the BS management has put us through. So in my state, the landlord is legally required to supply hot water. For 3 weeks they didn't. I was peeved. This time I knew I could say that they're not honoring their own lease agreement, and my rent should reflect that. I used the letter as backup because it was poorly worded and implied the stipend would be for all days hot water was out. After arguing with the manager for some time, they knew they were screwed. They ignored all my calls and emails about updates and how the letter was worded. I chose the stipend because I thought it would be a day or two, not 3 weeks. Now revenge. I did get a good amount off of my rent, but I don't know how many of my neighbors have. I am drafting a doc with all the info I used to get rent lowered, and am planning on printing enough for the whole building. I was going to do this anyway, but when I told them I was moving, they still wanted full rent, month to month. That made me want to do this more. I also reported them to HUD. Apartment complex really dropped the ball on this one. It's a good thing this tenant stood up for themselves and got their rent lowered, but it's a shame the other residents might not have had the same opportunity. Hopefully the doc they're drafting will inspire others to take action too. It's like Robin Hood, but instead of stealing from the rich, they're stealing from the slumlord. The only thing missing is a catchy slogan like "Fight the power, get a discount shower." Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.